This is the Shogun Tangaloy. It is a road bike brought to us by our good friend Bubba. Now, I don't work on road bikes very often, if at all, but this is for Bubba, and it means a lot to him, to me as well. So let's visit with him a little bit, shall we? All right, let's do it.
Bubba, it's good to see you.
Yes,
right,
sir.
good to sit down with you. Here at XPROD, here in Katy, Texas. You know, my name is X. Good to see you guys here. Where's the camera? There it is, over there. Good to see you guys again as usual. Good friend Derek in the house. He's over here. He'll poke his head in here in a second. But we're sitting down with, there he is. We're sitting down with Bubba today. Bubba came to me a little while back, and he asked if I could rebuild a bike for him. And that's what I do. You guys know that. I really enjoy it. And especially when I rebuild a bike that has a specific purpose, certainly in this particular case in my heart, because in this case, it wasn't just a build for an everyday customer, even though they're all important. This one has a specific purpose behind it. And I enjoy doing it, like I said, because I enjoy doing this kind of thing. But I got Bubba here. He's going to tell us a little bit about why he's here and what he does. Okay. First of all, Bubba, where are you from?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio. My wife's from San Antonio also.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm from the top of the east side. I'm off Clark.
Oh, okay.
Clark and MLK.
I got you. What do you do for a living?
Been a staging coordinator for about 30 years on and off. But I work in-house with a company called Power Factory. Mm-hmm. And what I do there is their staging and warehouse management. All right. And then I help load in shows sometimes and load out. The main thing is building and growing and developing a career, something that you love doing and getting it together.
Absolutely. Because when you love doing it, it doesn't feel like work.
No.
Right, yeah. No, I feel you.
I enjoy it.
Good. Now, tell us a little bit about recent events. I know that you had a couple of health issues that sort of caught you off guard.
Yeah.
Give us some insight on that, on what happened.
Well, I never in life spent any time in the hospital. I used to be in the calisthenics and doing that type of stuff until I tore a hernia. And then when I had a hernia operation, I didn't listen to the doctor. I went right back to pumping weights and whatnot, and I tore it in the same place again and had to redo the surgery. And the second time, believe me, was a lot worse than the first time.
Right.
It's like it takes the wind out of you when you walk. So after that little incident, I never had no encounter with the hospital whatsoever. I never went, got checked out. I never went and got a yearly checkup. I never took the time out to say, well, hold up, man, you got to take care of yourself.
Sure.
I was too busy helping others.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, and I enjoy helping other people. I like them to enjoy life.
Sure.
And so I put it out there. I actually push it. I want people to push to have a better life.
Absolutely. And there's also, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when reciprocity comes into play.
Right.
When you pay it forward, you do for others. Not that you do things for others so that it'll come back to you. Mm-hmm. But when you do, eventually it does.
Yeah, sooner or later. I don't look for nothing in return. I just want to see happy people.
Absolutely.
I love happy people.
Absolutely. What do they say? They say if you want to smile, you give one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's my motto. I live by it. Mm-hmm. But this one incident where I was driving one night and coming out of Galveston, we were doing a show down there with for Brent who was another production manager, owner, and for Affordable Sound. And we were doing a show down there, and I was coming home one night. I was in my car, and I started seeing these black spots. It was like I was almost dozing off or whatnot. So I didn't pay it no mind. I made it to the house, thanks to the good Lord, and then I told Troy about it the next morning. Troy Hortman, you know, that's my boss, and he told me, why don't you go get your eyes checked? So a year later, when I decided to go get my eyes checked instead of doing it right then and there, that eye check, I went in, paid my little fee, filled out the paperwork. They took me to the back to do an eye exam. They took me in one room and they did the check where you decide on your vision or whatever.
Right.
The distance and all that.
Sure.
So the lady said, what do you see? And she was saying, well, something is wrong, definitely wrong with your eyes. You're going to need glasses. So she tell me to go sit back in the lobby. So I go out to the lobby. The doctor comes around. And the doctor say, okay, Mr. Allen, could you come in the next room? So I go in the next room, and she told me to look in the screen. And then she took those things that open up your eyes like this. So when they opened up my eyes, she said, hold on. Let me take 2 pictures of your eyes. And she took 2 pictures and she sent me back to the lobby and she said, I'm going to give you this note right here. And she was filling it out at the time. So I'm going to give you this note. I need you to go to the emergency room right now. I said, for what? And I said, what they got to do with you checking my eye?
Right.
He said, sir, you need to go to the hospital right now. So she didn't finish the exam. She told me to come back after I went to the emergency room. But I didn't go. I said, ma'am, ain't nothing wrong with me. I feel fine. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, I just see these little black specks.
Right.
And she was saying, well, please don't be stubborn, sir. Go to the emergency room. I said, no, I'm not going. So she said, well, then at least let me check your blood pressure.
Sure. She
checked my blood pressure, and the first thing she wanted to do was call EMS. Because she said the reading that she got was 288 over 157, which was borderline heart attack. Right, a borderline heart attack. And I said, well, ma'am, I feel fine. I don't feel like going to the emergency room.
Sure.
So she said, well, I'm going to reschedule you. And she rescheduled me. She said, and I still want you to take this note thing about going to the emergency room as soon as possible. So I took the 2 pieces of paper and I called my boss. I said, Mr. Troy, this lady's tripping. She telling me to go to the hospital and I don't feel bad. Why would I want to go to the emergency room, pay that money? I don't feel bad.
Right.
This is the next day. Cesar called me and said, Mr. Troy told me what happened. Why don't you go to the hospital, man? You don't care about yourself? I said, nah, man, I ain't going to the hospital. I hate hospital. He said, man, you need to go. I said, man, I'm going to think about it. So I called Troy back. And Troy told me, he said, man, I'm going to meet you over there at 290 at the Northwest Hospital. I mean, North Cypress Hospital.
Right.
And I said, no, man, ain't no need for that. I ain't going to go. Troy said, what was your blood pressure? I said, they said 288 over 157. And I swear to God, he said, man, I'm sending you some money now. You go down into that emergency room or don't come back to work.
Yeah.
And because he told me not to come back to work, I went on to the emergency room.
Right.
And I go to the emergency room and I'm standing there and you get the cold chill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I really don't want to do this, man, because ain't nothing wrong with me. I go in, fill out the little thing on the little computer. I put my information in. I go to the desk. I had heard, no, before that, I went to the clinic instead of going to the emergency room.
Oh, I see.
And the
You're
clinic
still trying to.
trying to avoid the hospital.
Yeah.
And the clinic turned around and said, "Sir, we're gonna have to do an EKG on you."
Oh boy.
And I said, "What's wrong?" And they said, "Well, your blood pressure is way too high."
Mm-hmm.
So they do an EKG. And then they say, "Well, hold up. You got something more wrong with you." And I said, "Man, I've been living 52 years. Now, how am I going to have something wrong with me and not know it?"
Mm-hmm.
So they give me a note. So I take both notes, the one from the eye doctor and the one from the clinic, to the emergency room. And I'm standing up there like this.
He goes into
And
a second opinion.
I see a lady running with a wheelchair,
Oh.
man. So I said, "Oh, man, something happened bad, man. Something happened bad in here." But I didn't know they were coming for me. I'm like,
And you're looking like,
yeah, I'm looking like, man, somebody must have really got hurt or shot or something. I'm thinking it's somebody else.
Yeah.
So the chair come beside me and stop. The lady say, "Please sit down, sir." Right? She said, "Have me your arm." I said, what y'all doing?" She said, "Well, I'm putting this IV in you." And she put the IV in me and took me upstairs. And I'm like, "Ma'am, I just handed the lady the paperwork."
yeah.
Right? They took me from that point straight up to a bed. They said,
Which is, they should have, because of.
well, for like 3 days, my blood pressure was real high.
Right.
But they was able to bring it back down.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, she got an IV in me. I'm laying in the bed. She disappeared for about 30 minutes. She comes back. She checked my blood pressure again. It's still high. So they give me some tablets and they shot some in my IV. Right? Then she said, "Well, we need you to relax and try not to think about it. Try not to think about it." I'm down like, what to think about? You know, y'all got me in the bed. You got an IV in my arm. Y'all got me sitting up here. And the beds, they fold up like kind of ways. And I'm like,
Yeah.
halfway sitting up and I'm trying to focus on the TV.
Mhm.
She come back up and there. She said, "We're going to have to do an EKG on you again." So they do the first EKG. Come to find out that my heart is not getting enough oxygen. So that kind of triggered me like, wait a minute, man. That's kind of like making sense, right? So I called my mom from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Mom, I'm in the hospital." She said, what happened? She thought I had a wreck, right? Because she said I don't sleep enough.
Right.
So I turned around and asked her, "Do we have any heart conditions in the family?" And we do. I got like generations of people dying from heart attacks, diabetes, all kind of mess that they be dying from, cancer, high blood pressure, heart attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, wow, man, maybe that's trickled down to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor came back in after the first EKG and told me that. And when I told my mom said, "Yes, it's in the family." And then they come back and said, "We'll have to do one more test on you." And I said, "Well, what's that?" She said, "We'll have to do another EKG." Both tests, she showed me the results. My heart has a spacing where at times it doesn't get enough oxygen, almost thinking you can't, that as the doctor was showing me on my EKG, where that little bitty line with the very little vent, saying that that's almost borderline dead.
Oh,
Those big ones, right,
were spikes.
were spikes that were jumping up, right? And she was saying, "That is not good. Here's what we need you to do." And I said, "Well, what do you suggest?" She said, "I don't know what kind of lifestyle you live, but you're going to have to change some things." And I said, "Well, man, I don't do hardly nothing." She said, "That might be the problem. You need more exercise. You need stop stressing." I said, "Ma'am, I don't even stress about nothing. I don't even get mad about nothing."
Right.
She said, "No." She says, "It's a different type of stress." It says, when you have multiple things going on and you got if your mind is steady going like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that, that's stress,
Sure.
right? He said, you got to take your time out to say, well, hold up, this can wait, do this, that can wait, do this, and it goes on.
Sure.
So when she was explaining it to me, I said, well, I can do that, but I don't see why I'm stressing. So I stayed in the hospital 3 days, and that really taught me a lesson like, man, you got to take care of yourself. You got to do better.
Mm-hmm.
I was fiending for a cigarette, and I wanted a cigarette real bad.
I've been there. Mm-hmm.
And I took the IV out of my arm, and I was trying to get up and say, man, I'm going to leave this hospital. I ain't going to do this. I got mad. And I said, man, I'm going to leave. I pulled the IV out, everything, and was getting up to go out the room, and she was saying, no, don't do that. You're just cheating yourself out of life.
Yeah.
So I lay back down in the bed. They reran the IV, and the third day they released me. But they told me that I had to change my eating habits. I had to either quit smoking, slow down smoking, or get away from cigarette. Mm-hmm. I got to start exercising. I got to start doing different things. Mm-hmm. So what it all boiled down to it is that I had to change completely.
That's right. And something my dad and an old mentor of mine used to say is if you need the things in your life to change, then you have to change the things in your life.
Right.
And someone else had said, oh, and this was a good one. I heard this the other day. It was fantastic. They said, you don't have to be great to start.
No.
But you have to start
to be great
in order to be great.
Yes, sir.
And when I heard that, I thought, I'm keeping that one, and I can't wait to repeat it, which I did just now. I'm glad that we got it on film. But so that brings you here today, or at least the first time that we had spoken.
All right.
When you had, speaking of exercise, when you had bought me the bike. Now, as you know, I'm really big on fitness. I have been for a while. You and I are the same age.
Right.
And when I was in my 30s and 40s, I smoked a lot. I drank too at the time, and of course I don't do any of that anymore for several reasons. But we'll just talk about the health reason. When I was in my 20s and as a teenager, I was very athletic. And then when I got older, being on the road and being a musician, and you're in a certain environment, or at least I was in my particular environment, where people drank and they smoked a lot.
Right.
And in order to fit in with that, I did as well.
Right.
And after so many years of that and getting so unhealthy, I decided to put that behind me and not go back. And since then, I've been promoting fitness and I feel great. I actually feel better now than I did when I was in my 20s. But that brings you here for a similar reason. It was recommended that you exercise and you change your diet. And,
right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, between the doctor that I'm going to now, which is a really good doctor, and talking to you and Mr. Troy quit a lot of stuff too. Yeah. And he had to change. Mm-hmm. He said he never was deep into it, but he had to let a lot go. Right. And a lot of things, sometimes you fall in love to it, you get used to it, it becomes habit form, and habits are what is hard to let go.
Absolutely. You get used to existing a certain way.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when you train yourself to be a certain way, you just can't just walk away from it. It's not that easy.
Right.
So my challenge was, I tried the hamburger that you told me to try with no bread.
No bread, right.
And
so he's talking about the sort of nutritional plan that I'm on. A lot of my friends and clients are calling it now. They're calling it the X diet. Mm-hmm. But he's talking about eliminating carbs, pastas, breads, right. Anything that's not lean and green, basically.
So what I did was I actually cut bread completely down to like 6 slices a week. Right?
That's a good start.
And then like hamburgers, I still can't get over just eating a hamburger with no bread.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I'm working with it.
Mm-hmm.
My cigarette habits have improved greatly. I mean, I wear a patch, which I got it on down.
Sure.
I wear a patch during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But in the morning when I first get up, I got so used to grabbing a cup of coffee and a cigarette that always stayed with me.
Sure.
So now that's
I've been there
the part.
too.
That's the part I'm trying to get over.
Mm-hmm.
Cause some morning I can do it, but it be those mornings when you either rushing or you got too much time on your hand. You're gonna want to grab that cigarette and that coffee.
Absolutely. And that being said, here's how we're going to fill up your time. You brought me the bike,
Right.
and it was a great bike. It was just in very bad shape.
Right.
And after talking to you for a bit, I had a vision in my head of what I believe, based on what you described and what was my personal vision, what I thought would be good for you. So here's what we're about to do. We're about to unveil this bike and show Bubba actually what he came here for. So let's do this. All right, Derek, can I get your help, buddy?
But I came here for you. To say thank you.
Well,
You have been a blessing. You're an inspiration, and it's just the joy of meeting people that was in similar or almost the same position I was in,
right,
and seeing their outcome and what they had today helps me improve my habits. So that's why I say I can't thank you enough. You know, this will be ever told story to everybody I meet, because it took people who have been in similar situations that then overcome. And my name is Thessalonia. It means to overcome. So why can't I overcome that? And so I push myself to overcome. I mean, it's a struggle. I mean, I can't sit here and express how it ain't easy. It's definitely not easy. If somebody says it's easy, it just don't happen like that.
that's right. And and I tell you what was again about my dad. He used to say, if it were easy, then everybody would do it.
Right.
You know, if it were easy, then it wouldn't be worth it. It's the struggle,
right,
that gives it value. It's the adversity that gives it
like
value.
that. I like that. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you'll always be an inspiration to me. You don't know how grateful I am. And then hanging around people like Mr. Derek Alvarez.
Mr. Derek Alvarez.
You know, it's just like sometimes you need coaching to get where you're going, to be the best that you can be. So you can't just, you need it. You need it, man. Definitely need it. You need people that's going to inspire you to be better, to do better. It's not going to happen overnight, but it'll happen as long as you keep putting effort toward it. And then it's the mind that's already set one way. You just got to twist it so it'll go the other way. And I feed off of people who have been in my position, worse positions, or better positions, and overcome something so that I can take their idea, their way, and make me a masterpiece on doing my way. So it's a beautiful thing when you interact with people, because you can learn and constantly keep learning from those individuals that inspire you.
But I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. You know, you said a minute ago on being inspired and surrounding yourself with someone like Mr. Derek, or people that get you going. A lot of times in life, and it was difficult for me as a young man. Not so much now,
Right.
But as a young man, when you need help, asking for it.
Right.
The truth of the matter is, if someone we talked about reciprocity earlier, and it comes back to you. And when someone's, and I do this now, if someone's willing to lend you a helping hand,
Yes, sir.
then you reach out with both hands and you hold on for dear life.
All right.
You know,
I like
because-
that.
Yeah, because like I say, it comes back to you. There'll be a time when someone, and this happens to me a lot. And as an older gentleman now, I see it now.
All right.
When someone needs you, you're there for them. When it comes back to you, it's always, it seems to be, when you need it most.
Right.
So I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna try to send many people to you.
I appreciate that.
Send many people to you. You know, I just like the push, because
You
I
got it.
push every day. I
You got
push
it, brother.
every day to try to be better than I was yesterday. And like I say, you're looking at a man that used to smoke like 2.5 packs of cigarettes a day,
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Yeah.
You know, and
Been there.
now it's like 4 cigarettes a day, and the rest of the time is with the patch. You know, other than that, I can feel my wind coming back now that I smoke lesser. I mean, it ain't easy. I mean, I don't buy packs of cigarettes no more. If I see somebody smoking, I'm around, or I'm somewhere and I smell it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, or I run out of my patches,
Mm-hmm.
and the devil is always at work. So
He always
It-
lurks.
yeah.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
it's like, if I ain't got my patches or I use my last one, and I don't feel it going in my arm no more, it's like somebody will soon walk by and, man, I don't know what I'm doing myself like here. I want one. If I can get one, can I give you 50 cents for a cigarette? And I'll buy them. But then you got people like Derek, yourself. And Derek, what I like about Derek will take them and tear them up. He'll tell me, can I break one? Can I have one? Break one? And then before I know it, he done broke my whole pack. And I can't get mad at him because it's for my health.
It's true.
It's because of my health. And like people like Chuck Bennett, that's another lightning tech that's in the industry. A few other people that really care about you, they're going to do things, you know, like, all right, I can't be mad at you. I know how hard it is. All right, you can smoke just half of one. Like Chuck, the other day we was at a show, he said, you can only smoke half. That's it. You know?
Yeah.
He said, I want the other half. So he'll stand right there. I smoke half, he go on about his business. He wouldn't leave me alone, you know? But as long as I, you know, got a couple of puffs, I'm good anyway. So
That's a blessing. Because think of a second ago you said, and I say, I've been there too. You said you were at a couple of packs a day. You went from a couple of packs a day to having a friend tear up some of your cigarettes, and then another one only letting you smoke half.
Mhm.
First of all, to have somebody around you doing that is a blessing.
You're right.
Secondly, think of the
That's
progress you've made. If you continue with the same progress that you've already made from here to where you are now,
Mm-hmm.
to where you'll be in the future, the same momentum, and momentum builds, it snowballs.
Right.
And keep on pressing forward. Don't look back. Don't think of what you don't want. Only focus on what you do. Don't think of what's toxic. Only think of what's good for you and focus on that, which you are doing now, which is right here.
Right.
You ready for that big smile?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see it.
Yeah.
I ain't even seen it since I brought it over here.
All right, well, let me give you a bite. Let's do this thing. All right. So, Mr. Bubba employed me to rebuild a bike for him, and I put a lot of heart into it. And this was one of my funnest projects that I've worked on. So I'm excited to show him too. All right, let's do this.
Already.
All right, Derek.
Going up or down?
You're going.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
There's your bike.
Yes, sir. What you think about that, D? Man, I love it. Wow. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Man.
You like that?
Boy, I love that.
So
I love that.
So just as you ordered, we got the white wall tires. These are called thick and slicks. We got we've got the Presta valves. I put these red caps on there. White tape on the handlebars. We got the custom graphics. Emo, he helped me out with that. He does graphic design. He actually is a great guitar player too. He asked me for the seat. There has not been anybody else's bottom on the seat. I saved it for yours. All right, I left the wrapper on there and everything. You said you wanted some custom blue pedals. These are great pedals. I buffed out, shined up your cranks. These are new rims. I built them. I rebuilt them.
All right.
They're slightly smaller. You had 27.5 by 1.25. That doesn't probably mean anything to you, but these are 700s, slightly smaller. But man, they are great. And this is a custom paint job. It's midnight blue, like you asked.
Uh-huh.
And when the light hits it, you can see the slight glitter that's in there also.
Already.
Yes, sir. All right. And this was the last thing that I put on here. It was the kickstand.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kickstand you had asked for.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. All right. So now my favorite part, one of my favorite parts, you're going to take it for your first ride.
Already.
Yeah.
Already.
Already.
Boy, it's such a good one. It's still light. You pick it up. Yeah, baby.
Now, when Bubba first brought this to us, it was in really bad shape, but it was a great bike. But it really wasn't so much about that.
I'm gonna go through the neighborhood.
It was about someone making a positive change in their life. And Bubba asked me to help him with that. And since he asked me for my help,
There you go.
I wasn't going to let him down. I don't know what it is about getting on a bike that makes you feel like a kid again. Maybe because it reminds you of a much easier time, or at least a time when experience and joy wasn't quite as seldom as it can be in your later years. Now, that being said, I do that about as often as I can in whatever I have to do to help someone else experience the same thing. I'm all about it.
Get your bike from X. I want y'all to grab one of these. Yes, sir.
I think he's happy with it.
Yes, sir.
Me too. I enjoyed this build as much as I've enjoyed any build I've ever done. However, in this particular instance, it was for a specific purpose. To help someone make a positive change in their life. To help create a better experience. And most of all, to help create longevity. Good luck, brother. Let me know if you need anything.